active transport. Active transport, as we have discussed, it mainly involves primary active transport and the secondary active transport. What is the basic difference? What is the primary? What is secondary? So, in case of primary active transport, it requires the direct energy. Okay, the molecule. Suppose it's a random one block. Okay, so energy is required to push that block. It is the primary. While in case of secondary, what happens that molecule can easily pass itself, but out on the other part of membrane, it doesn't allow to come in. So for that process, one of the molecules from the other part should come in to this part, and this requires energy. So energy is not directly involved in the process of transporting the molecule. It is in there for molecule which is other side of the membrane. So it is called secondary, and this one is the primary, in which the direct energy requirement is there. So, and this one, as I have told you, that the primary and secondary, that it is unidirectional, only molecule passes, but in case of secondary, molecule pass to this side and another complementary molecule with same charge will transport this side. So it is the bidirectional, and while primary transport is unidirectional in nature. Now, primary transport mainly involves two, ion transporters and ATP binding cassettes. Okay, so here ion transporters and ATP binding cassettes. What happens in ion transporters? Ion transporter, generally we know, if we go for the acidic drug, suppose simple molecule, suppose this one is a drug, it is acidic drug. Okay, so when ionization takes place, this will be H plus plus A minus. So here you can see this is the proton and this is the drug moiety, so which is having negative charge. So this is the anion which is transported by means of organic anion transporters. And in case of base, where drug, suppose this BOH, okay, so it will split like B plus and OH minus. So this is the cationic drug which is transported by means of organic cation transporter. This type of transporters are present in whole body. You can consider liver, kidney and brain. These are the main parts. And here we can say that in case of organic cation transporters, three types of organic cation: type 1, 2 and 3. Type 1 is present in liver, type 2 present in the kidney, and type 3 is present in kidney as well as brain. So type 2 and type 3, these two are mainly responsible for the excretion of the drug by means of the renal excretion, while type 1 is mainly responsible for the metabolism part of the drug, which of the process takes place in liver. Okay, and this type 3 is also present in the brain, so it helps in transport viability through the blood-brain barrier and all that. So this is all about the ion transporters. Now we go to the ATP binding cassettes. What are the ATP binding cassettes? These are generally the one of the membrane part of the membrane. It is the part of membrane in which particular protein is there, and this protein by means of energy, causes the absorption of the drug. Generally, absorption is the term in which the drug is taken inside, and absorption means the simply thus pulling out the drug from the particular cell. So absorption of the drug molecule by means of protein by using ATP means the energy. It is termed as the ATP binding cassettes. Okay, and it is mainly responsible for the multi-drug resistance. Multi-drug resistance. We all know that PGP, it mainly acts on the lipophilic molecule, and drug molecule binds to the PGP and it is effluxed out. So action is terminated and it is responsible for the multi-drug resistance. So this is all about the primary transport. Now we will move toward the secondary transport. So in case of active transport, second part is the secondary transport. That's what I have told you in primary transport. In case of secondary transport, it is the bidirectional process. You can see here this molecule, two molecules will pass. Okay. Now why it is bidirectional? Okay. So in case of secondary transport, symport and antiport, two things takes place, and no direct ATP requirement is there. ATP generally it is drug molecule. D stands for the drug molecule, and Si stands for the supporting ion. Si stands for the supporting ion. Here, drug molecule is having its own concentration gradient, so it is no requirement for the energy to transport the driving of the molecule to the biological membrane. But without the supporting ion, which facilitates the transport of the drug molecule, it cannot pass through this molecule. So energy requirement is there for transporting the supporting ion, not the drug molecule. So it requires the indirect energy requirement. It is the indirect energy requirement. Okay. So it is divided in two parts: symport and antiport. Co and the counter. These two words, the co-transport. Co-transport means the drug molecule and the supporting ion both moving toward the same direction. So it is termed as a co-transport, and the classical example is the sodium and the glucose. These both molecules, when goes inside the beta cells, by means of which our insulin production takes place by activation of that beta cell. First it requires the glucose transportation inside and then phosphorylation. So phosphorylation is the next process, but this transport takes place by means of the symport.